What is going on, everybody? Happy Hump Day. It is Wednesday, May 26th, 2021, and I hope you all are doing well. It is a bright, sunshiny day on my side of town in Atlanta, but anybody who knows Georgia, that could change quickly. But I have the pleasure, y'all. Another Boss and Friends episode. I'm coming off vacation. If you know, my face is hydrated. I don't know if you can see, but I'm with somebody who, brother from another, but somebody I've grown over the last several years to just respect. And as you all can see from the little copy and about this episode, Jay is Mr. Get It Done, Mr. Hey, I got an idea. And I appreciate the visionary that he is, but also just the solid brother that he is as well. And so, y'all, Mr. J. H.O.T, what's going on, sir?
Thank you for having me, Lawrence. I really appreciate it, man. Thanks so much. This platform is amazing, by the way. I've watched some of these episodes and I love it. I really enjoy it, man. So thanks.
I appreciate it, man. Well, hey, because it's called Boss and Friends, I always like to tell people, like, hey, y'all think I just got like this by myself? No, I had some help. And so, Jay, who are you? Where are you at in the world? And we'll get rolling.
Okay, who am I? So let's see. I'm a husband. I'm a father of two beautiful, mostly amazing young ladies that I love. That they are the love of my life, and at the same time, they keep me on my toes. So, I am I'm in the business world in all types of ways and spaces. I'm the COO of the Academy of Creative Coaching. I am the CEO of Relationship Strategies International, where we work to create healthy relationships, healthy opportunities for relationships, and build platforms for people to have amazing relationships with themselves and with others as they grow, right? I am also I really don't have a title for this, but I partner with a good friend of mine, Paul C. Brunson, and we do masterminds overseas a couple times a year. You will hear shortly out there in the world that we'll have one coming up in Jamaica in November and Ghana in January. I'm probably letting the cat out of the bag, but on Boss and Friends, we can do that, right? So, yeah, that's a few of the things I do. I'm an avid golfer, right? I'm a passionate car enthusiast. As a matter of fact, I just left to grab something to eat, and I realized that my neighbor across the street, they drive a Lamborghini, and I'm a huge Lamborghini fan. Why didn't I know this? Why didn't they share? So I've got to walk across the street after the podcast and figure out what's going on. So anyway, yeah, man,
that's all for fair game here, bro. And I love that you, again, the breadth and depth of all you have your hands in. And when you think about just all that, people have endured, persevered through over the past year and some change, and continue to kind of motor through, what's your why in this season of life?
Wow, what's my why? I think I have a few whys, but I think three things that really resonate with me are building healthy relationships. And there's a why to that. I guess that answers one of the questions of why, right? Because growing up, I didn't have a lot of healthy relationships around me. I was actually having a conversation with my mom a couple of years ago. And I said, you know what? I'm the only person on this side of the family that is married. And we have a decent sized family, right? And I'm the only one that's married. Like that's something to think about, right? In the Black community, especially when we have children and we have families, but we don't have a nuclear family where we're really growing. And that's one of my missions, right? That's a why for me. And I want, and even going deeper than that on that level, it was important to me when I started on the relationship coaching journey and I don't know if I said that, I'm a certified relationship coach and certified mastermind facilitator. But when I started on the relationship coaching journey, it was really important for my daughters to know that relationships it's possible to have successful, whole, healthy relationships. Not perfect, but amazing, right? They're their own unique entity. And you can have a great relationship even as a Black man or a Black woman in America. So that's one of my important whys. Another important why is, it's important to me, and this may sound cliche, and I guess I don't really care if it does or not, but it's important to me to bring people to Christ. And although I'm not the missionary to go knocking on doors or what have you, I hope to do that through my books. I'm an author. I didn't mention that before we jump the broom. I actually have a copy on my desk, right? Shameless plug. Before We Jump the Broom, the premarital guidebook for African American couples. I saw somebody do that on like a podcast. That was so cheesy. I just wanted to like imitate that. But so in that book and in the platform that I'm building around that book, ultimately I want people and couples and families to realize that, Christ is our savior, his father is our source, and through all those things, everything in life is possible. So I think those two things are really key to my why and how I move and all those good things.
Solid right there. Look at him kicking it out the gate. It's all about building strong foundations. And anybody who knows me, you mess around any opportunity to start talking about values and faith and all the rest of that. Hey, you don't get me started, Jay. You don't get me started. But when you think about just the work that you do, and I love particularly around the family part, right? In relationships. And one of the things that I've come to understand in this season of life for me and my family is that when you think about what your why looks like and across the spectrums, how has your family extended itself outside of blood because of what you do?
Oh my gosh, man, that's an incredible question. Friends are really important to me. And when I say friends, I don't use that word lightly, right? I mean, people who are really connected. And just like you said about values, we have to share the same values for me to really call you friend. It doesn't mean we have to be exactly alike, but we've got kind of a similar perspective on life, right? And, Jim Rohn said, you are the sum of the five people closest to you. And I think no truer words have been spoken, right? So I try to surround myself with people like you and people like our pastor and people like Paul Brunson and Lamar Tyler, who's the founder of Traffic Sales and Profit here in Atlanta. People like that are really close to me that, they make all the difference in the world, right? So it expands my horizon and it makes me think bigger and it makes me rise. It makes me work to rise higher, right? So my goal is ultimately at the end of the day to be like y'all. So I'm always working to achieve that.
Don't even try it, man. I can recall, Jay, this probably was 2-3 years ago now. Us sitting in Papa Do's. You
Like 5 years ago.
It wasn't, man. It was golly. It was because and so I was like, it was like thinking of a master plan. Like it was like a song was playing in your head because like you had the notebook out, and I'm like, bro, we here to eat, and you got a notebook out, but you were really thinking about, and you were talking about just as an essence of you was just, hey, how can we build people? How can we build relationship better? How can we just do this thing at a macro level? And I think. And at the time, you were still working in sales. You were a sales leader and all the rest of those things. But now, as the COO of a coaching organization, like, did you see that happening?
Well, let me say this. And actually, that brings me to something I was about to mention that I left off my list, right, of the 5 closest people. So if I left outside of my family, so if I left off Dr. Pamela Larday, she would be ready to fight me. So that's incredibly important, Pam. I got you. You are an inspiration to me and my homie. So did I see becoming COO of a coaching company? So I was already a certified coach, and I think I had been asked even back then to work with ACC, and I wouldn't do it. But I knew that at the time I was kind of in a transition in my career. And I knew that I wanted to be, and no one says this ever, I knew I wanted to be a COO, not a CEO, right? And I'm a visionary, And I wanted to do, we talked about my idea for the men's group and all that, and I wanted to lead that. But at the same time, professionally, I wanted to be in the number 2 spot because I want to learn the inner workings of a company. And when I learn the inner workings and how to manage that, and then how to manage the person who's managing that, then I can be CEO material. So I knew I ultimately wanted to do that. And then ironically, my next job, I worked for the COO of a large paper company in Thailand. So I got to learn everything that he did, how he moved, the decisions he made, how he hired, how he fired, everything, right? He was really candid and transparent to me about that. And then I got pushed out. So at the time I don't know, I guess I was a little upset about it, but not too much. But what it really did was it pushed me into my destiny. So it worked out. And I guess to answer your question, I don't know that I knew that I would be the COO of a coaching company, but I knew that I would be the COO of something.
I like that. I like that. It was in you. It was in you. I think I listened to a message. I forget whose message it was ago, probably a couple of months ago, and it was just, and what the speaker was really just talking about, it was in you. Nothing's a surprise, right, under the sun, right? We both know that, but the fact that just the desire was there, the type of role, the type of mission of what that role means to an organization, but then you being connected, right? It's like you, and I think that speaks to this season of life for a lot of us, is what made you, or I say it this way, what makes you continue to say yes to things in this space?
Oh my gosh, what makes me continue to say yes to things in this space? I say yes to things that align with my values and my purpose. And ultimately, at the end of the day, I want everyone to win, right? So I think we're going through a transition period just as a country. And I'll be quite candid, right? From a social justice standpoint, I'm an African American and I'm supporting my people. At the same time, I'm supporting everyone else too, right? But I want everyone to win. And I feel like it's important that I stay aligned to my purpose, which I believe is, again, healthy relationships, helping people develop through masterminds, helping people develop through coaching. So as long as it fits within that spectrum and I'm ultimately helping people win, whether it's coaching somebody through a challenge, whether it's bringing on new and better instructors and future doctors onto our team, hint, hint, and doing these certain things to help people win, I'm all for
it. And I think so couldn't have spoken any truer words, because I am eternally grateful for just our relationship, right? And y'all, this speaks to, you talk about the authenticity of self and how people experience you. The conversations about me and Jay working together happened years ago. And every time I talk to Jay, I haven't forgot. We're going to make something happen. I haven't forgot. And again, for me, in the world I come from, hey, your word is all you got. In the military part of me, and I was like, okay, but it was different when Jay said it. Like, it was just like, no, I believe him. Like, I 100% believe him. And I was just like, but there was no expectation of when. It was just like, when he called, I just need to make sure I'm ready. And it was just something different about that. And when it comes to helping people understand, Jay, how to live your values every day, what are things that you do to make sure you stay consistent in that?
Okay. So how to live your values every day.
Mm-hmm.
I'm actually taking a note of that because I want to put a pin in that for a moment.
Okay.
We'll come back to it in just a second. Let me tell you why I continue to come back, and I was probably annoying reminding you that I haven't forgotten, right? It wasn't about me or reminding you, it was about you. I want to make that abundantly clear that when you meet someone that you know is invaluable, right? And really just a person that is, I think, placed in your life for a reason, season, and lifetime, and they have something to really share with the world, and I can help with that. I've got to figure out a way to make that happen. Like, I have to figure out a way to make that happen. So when I was coming back to you, I was just letting you know, man, I'm gonna make it happen. So that was about you. That was not about me. So back to how do you live your values? I think the way you live your values is that you have to be honest with yourself and realize that you're gonna fall short sometimes and you're gonna make mistakes, but you want to get back up on the horse and keep riding. Um, and also honor what you say, right? So if I say that I am, if I, for example, as a COO, if I say I'm leading people and I expect them to rock with a higher standard, right? I remember recently that I had someone that was, one of the things that we do in our training. Our trainings are on Zoom right now, pretty much all of them. Everyone has to have their camera on. And we had someone that sometimes they'd have their camera on, sometimes they wouldn't. It was not malicious. It was just something that they did, right? Well, if I expect to hold our students to a certain level, right, these values, so to speak, that we have, I expect our instructors to attain that level as well. So we rectify that. It's the same thing in my own life. If I expect my instructors to do certain things or whatever, I need to do them. Or my family, if I expect them to do something, I need to do them. I'll give you a super simple, silly example. And as a coach, right, I have a coach and I have a therapist, and we should all have that, right? So I remember once we were going to therapy, going to marital counseling, right? Because I consider that therapy, and well, it was therapy. And my wife would struggle with the fact that I would get up and run around and not make the bed. I'll get to it, but I wouldn't make the bed. So, and you're military, so you're like, dude, you're whack. But that's okay, because that was my, it wasn't malicious. It just, I wouldn't do it. So it bothered her. She's military too, by the way. Her dad is military, and look, you better make that bed if don't nothing else happen. Because the way you start your day is the way you live your day. You walk out your values. So the therapist mentioned, if it's important to your wife, should it be important to you? That was all I needed to hear. Right. So that reminded me that my values align with her values, and what's important to her needs to be important to me. Right. Now I make a little bit more than she does. So that's a great example. How you live it and how you walk it out is just how you do it. Like, you make it important. You make it a priority to walk out your values every single day.
Yeah. And what you just did there is a huge leader principle, right? Particularly around not judging why something is a thing for somebody else, but getting curious about it and internalizing it as saying, hey, should that thing be important to me as well? And there's a seeking of understanding of where a thing comes from that I believe is the connection point. Because you could have been totally dismissive and like, it's not a big deal. Like, it's a bed, it sheets, it's whatever. But it was like, you know what? The person I say I love, it's important to them. So what do I need to do to make sure I carry on that perspective? And again, understanding what you just said, because before, that quote wasn't a thing. How you start it, or it was in a different sense, but the activity itself was not a part of the regimen. And so people judge the nuances of things versus just calling things forward. Okay, cool. I add making a bed to my morning routine, right? And so when you think about just that from a leader perspective, and going into this next season of life, and as we, again, there's going to be levels to this thing. What do you believe a couple of the important things for leaders and people are to understand when dealing with others?
Ooh, so what should leaders understand when dealing with others? That's a really good question. I want to start here. So I ran from leadership for a long time. I went to school for recording industry. I loved it. I got a chance to manage recording artists. I hated it. Why? Because managing 20 something year old recording artists that are creatives is essentially babysitting. It's not managing. They should call it babysitting. So I was like, and then even when I got into corporate, right, and saw that, there's still some level of babysitting because you expect adults to be accountable. But what I also learned eventually that brought me finally to take that leadership path that I always knew was kind of meant for me was that when people follow you, they trust you and they believe in you and they will acquiesce. And it's not a subservient thing, it's walking alongside you and you're walking alongside them. So that's what I learned. So what do I let me make sure I haven't lost the question. What do I you may have to rephrase it for me, Lawrence. I think I
No,
did.
no worries, no worries. Just thinking about the characteristics and the things leaders have to lean into to be supportive of others in this new season. What do you think that is?
That's what it was. Okay. So how do we support others? I think the first thing is understanding. So work to understand the other person's position, the other person's perspective, all the things that they're going through, right? So be understanding. When we're working with others, this is kind of a side note, but not really. I think it's really important to build a great culture with wherever your leadership is. If you're leading one person or if you're leading 20 or if you're leading 2,000, it doesn't matter. Build a culture where it's not only a culture of accountability, it's also a culture of compassion. It's a culture of, understanding. It's a culture of fun. It's a culture of learning and working together. People use the term, right, that feels like family. And sometimes I think that's thrown out too casually. I think we want to have a culture where you feel like you can be honest and open and have real conversations. So it's kind of family-ish, right? But it's really a culture of being open and accessible. And then I think a third thing in how we want to be a leader is to serve our people, right? So if my team needs something, my job is to figure out how to get what my team needs, right? That to me, that's leadership. So figuring out, how to get our manuals out on time or how to get a book out on time or whatever you need, Coach Lawrence. My job is to figure out how to make that happen for you. And I think that's where leadership develops trust and it's easier for values to align because they'll go to the wall for me. My leader will do anything for me, right? Same thing in the military. My leader will do anything for me. I'm going to do whatever it takes to support him. So that's kind of my thoughts on that.
Yeah, I love that, man. Particularly the part again. I believe the foundation of success is steeped in, hey, what are our values and what are those things like compassion and candor and all the what does it look like in practice? And I really believe that's where the friction happens is because just how you brought up examples of, your wife and making the bed and just the different examples working with coaches and something as simple as, hey, getting manuals out on time. And it may seem arbitrary when talking about it, but if it's important to someone to get things on time, and again, somebody like me, who I was to be on time is to be early and to be on time is to be late. But coming from that space, honoring the other person that you're engaging with, I believe that's timeless. And that goes to the disposition and character of people. And I believe in this new season, people are even more sensitive to, again, the family like environment. But I believe people are really saying is, I see you, I hear you, I appreciate you, and I value you. So in turn, I'm going to be reciprocal in what that looks like and model that for you. And so, Jay, I appreciate, man. And again, I just want to introduce people to you. And y'all better connect with Jay because if you don't, you're missing out. And I'm just gonna put that out there. And so, Jay, I want people to connect to you. I don't want to hoard you because sitting with Jay for 20 minutes can unlock some things in your life. And so, Jay, how do people connect with you? How do people find you? And you begin to use you as a resource,
Sure.
paid resource.
Sure, that's fine. I appreciate that. You can connect with me on social media everywhere, Jay Hurt Coaching. Also on Wednesday nights, every other Wednesday, I have a Zoom call, which is called Relationship Convos with a Black Man. And what we're doing is we're having relationship convos with a brother, right? So we're talking about all the things that go on in relationships. We have a lot of singles that join, but we also have some married folks, and we just deep dive into some of the issues that are really going on today. And it's a great conversation. It's interactive. So if you get an opportunity and you want to join, I would ask that you shoot an email to jayhurt.net. So jay@jhurt.net, and we can get you in that conversation. I've got a book that I mentioned before we jump the broom, the premarital guidebook for African-American couples, that will be available soon. It's going to be available in a workshop setting. So if you're thinking about getting married, you're engaged, any of those kind of things, there'll be opportunities there as well. Shoot me an email at that same email address, jay@jhurt.net. And finally, a couple other things. So if you're interested in coaching, please reach out to the Academy of Creative Coaching.com. We will set up a call with you. We'll have a discussion. We can do some coach training. And also, if you're interested in getting coached, we have something called the Creative Coaching Initiative, where, again, you can reach out to this, go to the same website. You can sign up there and you can get some free coaching. And then lastly, the 2 mastermind sessions that we'll be having this year. One will be in Jamaica the weekend, I think the week before Thanksgiving. So be on the lookout for that. Go to Better with Paul Connect. So BWP Connect, Google that, and you'll be able to go to his membership site. There's some free resources you can get there, and you can sign up to come to Jamaica. Or, well, let's say, and you love Jamaica so much you want to come to Ghana, you can also sign up to come to Ghana the second week of January. So lots going on. I stay really busy, but I love this life. It's so much fun. And I appreciate you having me, Lawrence.
My absolute pleasure, Jay. And like you said, y'all, Jay got it going on. And of course, he don't stick to the domestic continental United States. He's Mr. Global. And so you better catch him if you can. But Jay, I appreciate your time. I appreciate the gift that you are, sir. And continue making the world a better place. So till next time, folks, this was another episode of Boss and Friends. Connect with my friend. And we will talk to y'all later. Have a great rest of your week.